I want to play a portion of the introductions here, because this is at the this is what Rush Limbaugh was talking about yesterday. How all these people, it's such a good old boy network up in Washington, D.C., and these people, and the Republicans, for the most part, are diametrically opposed to John Kerry and everything he said. And yesterday we played audio when he was talking about the men and women he fought with in Vietnam and how they were torturing people and cutting off their heads and all that crap.
They had personally raped, cut off ears, cut off heads, taped wires from portable telephones to human genitals and turned up the power, cut off limbs, blown up bodies, randomly shot at civilians, razed villages in a fashion reminiscent of Genghis Khan, shot cattle and dogs for fun, poisoned food stocks, and generally ravaged the countryside of South Vietnam.
This guy is the consummate piece of crap Democrat politician in Washington. Listen to him carry on at the beginning of his confirmation hearing. This is nauseating.
Before I begin, I would like to have the privilege of just introducing very quickly. I think most of you know my wonderful wife, Teresa, who's been part of this great journey for a long time. My brother, Cam, who is serving over in the Commerce Department as counsel there, and I trust they know he's here and have given him time off. And my daughter, Vanessa, and her husband, Brian, both of whom are working as physicians at Mass General in Boston, and another daughter who's not here,
Good
Alexandra,
Lord.
and 3 stepsons who likewise are spread around the world.
Good God. He's showing off. Look at all these wonderful people that are a part of my life and that I am related to. They mean nothing to me. Nothing. They mean nothing to Americans. What an amazing pile of steaming horse crap.
We are thinking about them as we embark on this wonderful journey. For 29 years, I've sat up on the dais where you all are, and I've kind of looked down at the witnesses and wondered what they're thinking sometimes as we question them. And I don't want this to affect your opening questions, but let me say I've never seen a more distinguished and better-looking group of public officials.
What a jack-off. I'm sorry, excuse my language, but what a freaking loser. Talk about kissing ass. And this is why Rush Limbaugh was saying what he was saying yesterday. And I was listening to, 15, 20 minutes of his program, and he was talking about what a load of crap all of this is. John Kerry is going to be confirmed. He's going to be a terrible... In fact, we did play that. I remember now. We played that piece of Rush Limbaugh yesterday talking about what a load of crap all this is, and that John Kerry is going to be confirmed, even though he's going to be a disaster, a freaking disaster as Secretary of State. Now then, let me get the most offensive and troubling portion of this. Okay, check that. Forgive me, I'm not at the most important, the most disturbing aspect, the most disturbing quote from his testimony, but I want to play something he said about Hillary Clinton. I'm skimming through this, and boy, I'll tell you, John Kerry is one ass-kissing son of a bitch.
Secretary Clinton particularly has served above and beyond the call of duty. I think everybody on this committee would agree. Her service has been superb, and we all thank her for a job well done.
Good God. Lord have mercy. That is unbelievable. But of course, what else is he going to do but kiss ass? Here's the sound of John Kerry testifying.
Secretary Clinton particularly has served above and beyond the call of duty. I think everybody on this committee would agree. Her service has been superb, and we all thank her for a job well done, for her tireless efforts on behalf of our nation. She has set a very high mark for the stewardship of the State Department and her commitment to country. And I can pledge to you that with the consent of the Senate, I will do everything in my power, summon every energy and all of my focus to build on her record and on the president's vision.
What a load of crap.
Okay, and then I've got another disturbing moment, and I think this says less about the problem with the Republican Party than it does about the problem with John McCain. John McCain is, again, one of these people that we just talked about on the show. One of these Republicans who should be a Democrat. Listen to John Kerry, a very short soundbite.
Senator McCain, as he mentioned, is a longtime friend.
Okay, now, this is one of the biggest problems in Washington, D.C. These people get along. These people try to work together. There is no way, if I was Senator Jimmy Z from California, that I could go to Washington, D.C. and become close friends with John Kerry. I don't have friends who are nasty, jackass, anti-military, socialist Democrats. I do have liberal friends, but they are not nasty, jackass, anti-military, socialist Democrats. Okay, I've got another clip here. This is still not the most disturbing moment, but it's right up there. This is amazing. John Kerry talking about America putting its fiscal house in order. Can you believe it? This is Democrat John Kerry. His party is instrumental in keeping America from putting its fiscal house in order.
As we work to help other countries create order, the first priority will be that America at last puts its own fiscal house in order. I really can't emphasize to you enough how imperative this is. People all over the world are looking to the United States for leadership. We are known as the indispensable nation for good reason. No nation has more opportunity to advance the cause of democracy. No nation is as committed to the cause of human rights as we are. But to protect our nation and make good on our promises, as well as to live up to our ideals and meet the crisis of this moment, it is urgent that we show people in the rest of the world that we can get our business done in an effective and timely way. It is difficult enough to solve some of the problems that we face, but I will tell you, it becomes impossible or near impossible if we ourselves replace our credibility and leverage with gridlock and dysfunction.
You know what? This is simply John Kerry blaming Republicans again. John Kerry and Barack Obama and the Democrat Party have no intention of putting America's fiscal house in order. No intention whatsoever. Okay, here is the moment. Here is the quote. Here is the phrase that is so disturbing. And I've got to be honest, it shouldn't just be a point of concern for Americans. This ought to be concerning for people all around the world who love freedom. Listen.
It's also imperative that in implementing President Obama's vision for the world, as he ends more than a decade of war, that we join together to augment our message to the world. President Obama and every one of us here knows that American foreign policy is not defined by drones and deployments alone. We cannot allow the extraordinary good that we do to save and change lives to be eclipsed entirely by the role that we have had to play since September 11th, a role that was thrust upon us.
Now, I played 37 seconds. Did you catch it? Let me play the beginning of that clip again.
It's also imperative that in implementing President Obama's vision for the world, as he ends more than a decade of war, that we join together to augment our message to the world.
It's right in there. President Obama's vision for the world. Like there's anything President Obozo has done that would cause the rest of the world to look forward to his vision. John Kerry, in the Secretary of State confirmation hearing, is seriously talking about President Obama's vision for the world.
President Obama's vision for the world.
You know, maybe it's the almost $6 trillion that President Obama has increased America's national debt. Maybe that's so impressive that Obama must have a vision for the rest of the world to become indebted beyond anyone's imagination. Maybe that's what John Kerry means by
President Obama's vision for the world.
Or maybe it's the Arab Spring that Obama has an instrumental part in, that has caused so much upheaval in the Middle East. Maybe that's what John Kerry means by
President Obama's vision for the world.
Or maybe it's the way Barack Obama feels about Israel, that Israel is not an important enough ally for the United States to aggressively help defend. Maybe that's what John Kerry means by
President Obama's vision for the world.
Whatever he means, that phrase, President Obama's vision for the world, it sounds really bad. It sounds like something the world does not need.
The Jimmy Z Show.